Neon has had themselves quite the summer at the movie theaters. Typically known for their streaming, direct video type. Not saying they're not good, but they're typically smaller budget films that don't get wide releases. You know, they got a couple there that get up. By all accounts, these are just straight to streaming, straight to streaming services, what have you, video, whatnot. But Cuckoo came out a couple weeks ago. We had to drive to Birch Run to see it. Was it Birch Run? Yeah, it was Birch Run.
Opposite way.
No, it was Midland. Mm-hmm. Midland, we had to go see it because we couldn't find it. They weren't playing it in Saginaw. I was like, "Fuck, man, we're we gonna be able to see this movie?"
Then we happened to. Then Britt looked up and said, "Oh, it's in Midland." I'm like,
It's
"Okay,
in Midland."
Okay.
So Cuckoo stars Hunter Schafer and Dan Stevens, and a cast of really kind of kooky characters. I mean, a lot of these people are nuts in this movie, and everyone's really good in it. Like everyone plays their part really, really well. But Tone, this is kind of like this is a very unique, what you would expect from Neon. Mm-hmm. It's a very unique, like, a body horror movie with like sci-fi elements. There's some camp to it. But this is a movie that I feel like takes a lot of risks. And it's got all the things that you want from these types of movies. There's some gore, there's some jump scares. But I do feel like it's one of those movies that's very ambiguous. Not just the ending, but just all throughout. There's things that they hint at. There's things that they try to explain through exposition, but there's also still a lot of question marks about things that are happening, where things are coming from, the origins of specific species. A lot of this stuff isn't really explained very well.
Sure.
So it leaves a lot. I mean, I want to say some of it is left open to interpretation. I think other parts, it's just like, we're probably going to need a sequel.
Yeah.
Something to explain things a little bit more. But by all accounts, what this movie might lack in focus with its story, it makes up for in presentation. It makes up with performances. You're literally engaged in this movie, even though you might not know exactly what's going on some of the times. This is a movie that doesn't pull any punches, and it's very entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to get your thoughts. I mean, I know after seeing Longlegs, we have a whole new thoughts on Neon, a whole new respect for him.
Yeah.
And this is kind of like that big follow-up to Longlegs. What were your thoughts on Cuckoo?
I loved this fucking movie. I feel like what you just said about like the loss of focus sometimes, I feel like that is what makes this so unique and awesome because of that, because you're kind of questioning, you're not really fully sure like what is going on or what the thing is that they're dealing with maybe necessarily. It's a very, very, I mean, you're going to hear it a lot with this, a very unique sci-fi-esque horror. I mean, it really can fit into a lot of different areas. I didn't expect all of that. I didn't expect all of that at all.
Yeah.
And, the problem is when you take those risks, I feel like a lot of people fall hard on that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And the camp becomes so much or so bad that you just like, come on. Like, but I was not like that with this film.
Right.
I felt like they did so many. I mean, think about the way they use sound, the way they use some cinematography, and all sort of things to like present the thing or what. I don't want to give away too much on those sort of things, but like was just like early on, you're like, wait, what the fuck? And then you start realizing, you're like, oh, and yeah, sure, there's some questions, right? But it bundles this movie into this just really fucking psychedelic almost like experience that you're watching. And I'm here for it. Like I love, I know we say this so much about this renaissance of like horror films or these type of films. Like I'm a big fan of like creature-esque film horror, and everybody like I'm never going to be silent about that. And this was different than anything we've seen recently.
Right.
Like I didn't really know what to expect or anything. Like at the beginning, you don't really know what's going on with everything. There's a lot of like, man, even with the characters and the trauma and the things that they're dealing with, and with Hunter, Hunter has got a long future ahead.
Oh yeah.
If you've ever watched Euphoria, holy shit, on HBO, Hunter's got a long, great actor. Dan Stevens, listen, I'm telling you right now, Dan Stevens, prior to some of the work that he's done in the last few years, I know. I think he because he's British. I think there was a show. I don't know what show it was. It wasn't Downton Abbey, was it, or something like that?
It was Downton Abbey.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. So he in the show Legion, which was an old Fox Marvel whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Him and Aubrey Plaza have unbelievable. Like it's mind blowing how much of a whack job he can play.
Yeah.
He needs, like, people need to take this man and give him more work. I want to see him. I want to see his resume build the way it is. He was phenomenal in this as way too. But overall, listen, the story was, like I said, just different. It was unique. It's a lot to process when you're watching it, when you're walking out. Even now, you're still trying to process because when it ends, you're still like, well, what exactly? Like, what's going on here? What's going on there? So, I loved it. And I honestly, I can't wait for it to come out in digital because I really want to watch it again because I feel like, knowing what I've known at the end, I feel like I'm going to catch on to things a little bit better. It's one of those. I think
it's a movie that will benefit from subsequent viewings.
Yes,
for sure.
yes. And so, like I said, I enjoyed every minute of that, even the weird shit, even the stuff I didn't understand, and I feel like that's part of the allure for me because there's some like fucking disgusting shit that's even like. It's a fucking gnarly movie. Yeah. That's all. That's it. I'm gonna talk in circles if I don't stop. But what does Britain says? I want to see if I can. So my only issue is how much they showed in the trailer. Which maybe I didn't see the second trailer or something. Like I felt like even with those trailers when I was watching that trailer didn't answer anything for me.
I mean, if the main movie hasn't answered anything, I don't know how the trailer would like spoil anything because I still like I said, that's a movie where I'm gonna have to watch it a second time. But maybe I also think it is a movie that is going to need a sequel to kind of like dive into, because it does leave it open for a sequel. There are some things that happen towards the end of the film, but we don't get confirmation of certain characters, whether they're what their fate is. But I didn't have too much of an issue with the trailer. I think when I watched the trailer, I felt the same way after I watched the movie. Like, what the fuck was going on here,
dude? The way they use the sound, there's some unsettling visuals and unsettling moments. And part of, like, we say that when you can use sound as something that makes you unsettled, because Longlegs does it as well too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this movie did that really well. Another one that did that really well in the last recent years was Antlers. They also use sound really well as well too.
I forgot about
that.
Antlers.
I thought that helped make the unsettling things as well too.
Antlers is a fucking wild.
I'm a huge fan of that movie, and I love talking about it because it makes Brittany annoyed because she's not a huge fan. So
she's not a fan of Antlers. God, she likes fucking Subway, and she doesn't like Antlers. I Jesus.
I don't know, man.
Woo! Man, Britt, you're lucky you're a sweetheart. You know, you're lucky you're a sweet. You do need to rewatch it. Maybe stay awake this time or actually watch it. You know, one of those two. I don't know. But no, I like I said, man, I thought this was just it was a rad movie. Like I said, and I hope we do get a sequel. Maybe a couple extra viewings will help me catch some things that'll flesh out the plot a little bit. But I do think a lot of it is ambiguous on purpose. But I mean, yeah, and also bonus points for the creepy lady behind me here. Her movement is the kind of fucking movement I hate in movies when they got like that like stop go animation movement. It just doesn't look natural for a human being. And when she's moving around, I'm just like, Jesus Christ, dude, I don't need that right now. But Dan Stevens is awesome. Hunter Schafer is awesome. And Neon is just on this streak. The streak continues of these like unique horror offerings that have just run a banner year for them. And I really hope that they stick to their guns in this. I hope they stick to this and continue to pump out movies like this. Don't give way to the more mainstream stuff. Keep doing unique shit like this because I love it, man. Like you said, we're in this renaissance of horror, and there are so many different subgenres of horror, and I feel like studios like Neon and A24 are always taking these chances, trying different things, trying to keep it so we can't predict what happens. And sometimes it works, and sometimes it doesn't, but everything else usually around those big decisions is carrying the movie along perfectly with performances and presentation. Keep doing what you're doing. They're not all going to be winners, but damn it, they're a lot better than just getting Nightmare on Elm Street 25 or a new Texas Chainsaw Massacre or just these reworkings that just constantly just get old and old and old. Keep taking fucking chances because more often than not, I appreciate the chance more than the movie itself. And the ones that are good, it's just like fucking that's a win-win.
Even if they're just a one-off, like even if we didn't get a sequel to this, right? Even if we didn't, it's just nice to have, like, again, and again, I'm gonna keep saying it. I know I keep saying it. We always keep complaining about reboots, remakes, and all this stuff. There's people out there that are doing the right thing, and it's the horror genre right now that is saying, you know what, we've got stories to tell. We're gonna make weird shit. And you're gonna like that weird shit, and I like weird shit. So guess what? I'm enjoying it. So it's awesome.
Fucking
'Cause
weird.
I'm a fucking weirdo.
But let us know your thoughts in the comments. If you checked out Cuckoo, let us know what you thought of it. Maybe explain to us a little bit, maybe some of the things that we didn't quite grasp, or maybe there's something about the species that
make you
is
horny?
very
What?
that make you horny.
I'm just asking.
I mean, hey, you never know. That could be the
There's
whole
a
basis
lot of
the
innuendos
plot.
and sex.
There's
stuff
a lot
on.
of innuendos.
I'm just saying.
But let us know in the comments what you thought of Cuckoo. We want to hear from you.